is a case of a personal friend who was being attacked by McCain and others, and eventually Susan decided to take herself out, which I think was unfortunate because she clearly was a very qualified candidate, maybe more so than Kerry, he's now putting forward. But be that as it may, very tough racial dynamics,
of course,
that were being played out there in his very first press conference after a remarkable victory, which tells me this stuff hasn't gone away at all.
And it won't. So no, we're not in a post-racial society.
You know, I got to throw in, I don't know about Susan Rice. I didn't study her, look into it a whole lot. I did read a critique of her and her ties to Rwanda and some leaders, and there was some, I'm not sure she's a progressive. Maybe you know more about her. I mean, I was not totally bent out of shape when she backed down, or stepped down, but I also was a little irked that she had to do that.
If I can play gender, racial stuff here for a moment, she's as qualified, if not more so, than Condoleezza Rice.
Well, yeah, we weren't a big fan of hers.
Whose misinformation testimony did not prevent her from serving in an official capacity.
But I think a bigger issue that took place with that scenario is all these dynamics and stereotypes of what it means to be a black man, and that Obama is trying to deal with as president. I think that backing down in the way in which he did by not having a stronger stance in support of her may give us a clue in how this second term is going to play out. I was expecting to be a lot more fiery, a lot more demanding, as he doesn't have to go up for re-election, which a lot of us progressives were thinking that now he can put the hammer down. He doesn't have to bend over and really compromise for these folks, pull out the olive branch the way in which he's done in the first term. He has to be a lot more forceful, a lot more demanding, and that didn't happen with Susan, with Rice. And so I'm wondering if this is a telltale sign of how the rest of his term is going to play out, because this opposition on the right has not subsided. They actually circled the wagons, and so how is he going to respond? And the way in which he backed down was disappointing.
Well, a lot of it's how we're going to respond, and how progressive organizations around the country start to respond and push them. You know, a lot of people just grumble and back down. You know, it's a phenomena of when you get someone good in office, sometimes you're so relieved you don't do much work for the next few years.
That's a good point.
And I think that one of the things that we have to really start putting out there is 2014 and elections, just on a national level. That we've got a lot of senators and congressional people coming up. It'll be a pivotal election, even though that the numbers are definitely in our favor, progressive favor, moving forward. Certainly on a national election, on these state and local elections, we've got some challenges.
I think that we have more than just elections to worry about, because we did get a great turnout because there was a great ground game in place. Those same folks need to be engaged in other issues beyond just a 2014 election cycle, or we won't be able to address some of the issues you're trying to raise in your book. It seems to me that those very same people need to be turned on the rest of the year, whether it's dealing local, regional, or national issues. We have to hold the president's feet to the fire. And we're not going to do that if we just bounce from one election cycle to the next.
No, I totally agree. And it's like, I think that the notion of community organizing needs a big comeback. I mean, we used to talk about it all the time. But when I opened the Heartland, I had been a community organizer, and I never really identified myself that way, but clearly had done it for a number of years, probably more years than Obama did it. He made it really popular. It took some hits from the guys like McCain, a community organizer. But I think it's a noble profession, and people need to really get back into it. Now, speaking of organizing, I'm going to just, you're down there in Kentucky. You told me a few stories about how the university tried to use you to diffuse some protests from black students. Whether or not you want to give us the details, there's some talk about your senator, Mitch McConnell, being challenged. I know that. Being challenged by an actress, Ashley Judd. Is she an actress or a country singer? I don't know.
She's an actress.
Okay. So what's going on with that? Just 'cause that's going to be one of many races that hopefully we we have some results.
Man, Kentucky is a quirky, unorthodox place. It's hard to put your finger on it. I do know that these folks, she would be a Republican, not a progressive. I mean, so let me correct.
She's run as a Republican?
Yeah, she would be a Republican, not a progressive. She's not.
I didn't know that.
She's not running as opposition to as a progressive towards those dynamics play out. What they're arguing is there's, again, what the election demonstrated, that these white male ideologues and this Tea Party say no at all costs approach is hurting our state. And so we need someone who is traditionally Republican, but understands that compromise is also important for the progression of the state. And so that's why and she's popular. The University of Kentucky has a lot of weight in this state, which I didn't realize. I mean, I can get out a ticket just by saying I teach at the University of Kentucky. It's weird that basketball team has brought all this kind of power
Chicago
to the university. And so by her being an alum of the university and also having this fame, they think that she has enough backing to unseat this powerful Mitch McConnell. And so that's why folks are pushing. It's not something she wants to do.
Okay.
Folks are trying to encourage her to do
I
so.
should have investigated and researched a little more before I threw it in there. I had some sense that she was going to be, an Al Franken guy.
Mark Kirk, maybe.
But I believe she'll be a whole lot flexible. If I had to put a percentage on it, 80% more flexible than McConnell. And so I must go on record and say I'm not a resident of Kentucky. I live there, I work there, but I'm still a California resident.
Okay,
I
hallelujah.
refuse to call myself a Kentuckian.
Now, your vote doesn't matter much. You should register in Kentucky. You get more bang for the buck. California, we're set, I think, unless you're living out in Orange County. Okay, so I'm here talking with my pal Tom Clark and my pal Jakobi Williams, and we did a little bit of the year in review. We did a little bit of talking about Jakobi's new book, From the Ballot to the Bullet, coming out in February, University of Kentucky Press.
University of North Carolina Press.
Oh, okay. That vote, the two states that didn't go for Obama. So why don't you tell us how people can contact you, and then Tom, you do the same thing. If you guys have a quick announcement about anything, go for it, because we will run out of time in 2 minutes, and I need the last 30 seconds.
Okay. The book is available at Amazon.com. The title is From the Bullet to the Ballot, the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party and Racial Coalition Politics in Chicago by the University of North Carolina Press. It's an academic book. You can go to uncpress.com to get it. I suggest everyone go to Amazon, because Amazon, you can pre-order it and have it delivered before it's actually released February 28th. And Amazon is giving a 25% discount on the purchase price of $35. And I also have some pre-order forms with me for those who are interested in possibly mailing those in today and getting a copy.
And do you have a contact for you?
I could be reached at Jakobi Will at uky.edu, or on Facebook, Jakobi Williams, or at Jakobi Will on Twitter.
That's Jakobi, and then Williams.
Will.
Okay.
CommunityMediaWorkshop.org. 23 years starting this March at Columbia College, helping other nonprofit communicators get their stories out. We have a popular annual media guide. I'm doing my favorite 5-week course starting the end of January. CommunityMediaWorkshop.org. We're at Columbia College. We wish you the best storytelling in the new year as we get ready to celebrate another Studs Terkel Community Media Awards on March 14th.
And I'm Michael James, and I want to thank everybody who makes this show possible. Before I do that, though, I'm going to say that next week we have the esteemed filmmaker Bob Hercules, who was on last night with a new film on the Joffrey Ballet on Channel 11. He's going to be here next week talking about another new film he has, along with a fellow named Dan Chase, and it's about Dr. Billy Taylor. Billy Taylor was a hotshot running back under Bo Schembechler at the University of Michigan. He had a great future, and then he hit rock bottom with drugs, alcohol, whatever kind of a situation came up, and he's made a great comeback. So the movie is called Perseverance, and it's the story of a man's remarkable resurrection and of his mission to help others who have similarly touched bottom in their lives. Go to youtube.com/Heartland Media to see recent interviews. Mick Dumpke, Fred Klonsky, Tracy Baim. There's a lot of good ones up there. Yeah, there's hundreds of them up there. I want to thank Katie Hogan, who couldn't be here today. I want to thank Laura Herman. I want to thank Lisa Smith. I want to thank Jay Sarate downtown. I want to thank Grant Siskel. I want to thank Paul and Mary Wozniak. I want to thank Lynn Orman, who helps get us the music. And I want to encourage you all to do good in the world, because the world needs all the good that you do. All power to the people. Over and out.
Power to the people, baby.
46 seconds over.
You're listening to 88.7 WLUW Chicago Sound Alliance, broadcasting from the campus.